What's going on? Oh, it's the aftermath. Thurman versus Barrios. You're tuned into Jay's channel. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate your time as always. So, after the press conference, before we get into that, man, I just want to address this pay-per-view story. I know a lot of people disagree with it being pay-per-view, and it's a tough one to look at. I mean, you look at a guy like Thurman, who came off a loss against Pacquiao. Then you look at a guy like Barrios that came off a loss against Gervonta Davis. So both of those guys are pay-per-view fighters. Even though Davis hasn't really fought top guys, he's still a very pay-per-view worthy fighter because of obviously his promotion team. He's got Mayweather in his corner, and Mayweather is known it to be the greatest of all time by many people. Still holds the record, 50 wins, 0 losses. So I mean, I understand it in that sense, but putting that aside, I mean, like I said, Pacquiao and Gervonta were the stars here. Thurman, yes, he was champion, and he's only lost once, but that being said, he hasn't looked the same since all his injuries and all that. But hey, it is what it is, man. $75, I believe, and that is the same price as Pacquiao versus Thurman. So I mean, it's clearly wrong in my opinion, the pricing. But hey, it's out there. That's what the price is. I don't know if it's going to change. I doubt that it will. I mean, it is fight weekend, so I mean, I guess you got to accept it for what it is. Now, that being said, who knows if it's even going to sell? You know what I mean? I mean, Gervonta Davis against Barrios only, not only, but I mean, sold 200,000, which is not too bad. 200,000 is good at that price. $75, and then you got Pacquiao and Thurman, which was 500,000. So more than double the amount. But I doubt that this fight will sell as much as any of those. Like I said, these guys aren't really the stars that made it that pay-per-view fight. Thurman is close though, but I mean, with the layoff, he calls himself one-time Thurman. I mean, you can call him Keith Thurman, 3 years out of the ring, you know what I mean? Like, in all honesty, he hasn't really been active, and they're both coming off a loss, sorry. So I mean, yeah, I agree with everyone else. It shouldn't really be pay-per-view. The card is not too bad. The card is not too bad, but still the main event. I don't believe both of them coming off a loss. It's not even a final eliminator or anything like that, to my knowledge. So I mean, I guess it is what it is, man. I mean, I can't do anything about it, but I'm definitely gonna watch it. But I don't think I'll be paying for that fight, for sure. But that out of the way, let's get into the press conference now. Thurman looks like he's been out of the ring for 3 years. He does look like he's aged. But looks can be deceiving. This is the press conference I'm talking about. I haven't seen him in the weigh-in yet. So I mean, looks can be deceiving. I mean, you saw what Pacquiao done to him. Some guys may look older, but they can still fight. So I mean, don't let that fool you. I mean, the 3 years out of the ring, or 2 years, or whatever, how long it was, close to 3 years, might have been a good thing for Thurman. Not in the sense of his career, of his career being on a standstill, but in the sense of him recovering. Like he said in the press conference, he does, he is a guy that sort of loves boxing. You know, you can tell by the way that he talks. You know, he's very passionate about boxing, and I believe that even when he retires, you know, he'll be heavily into the sport as a commentator. You know, he's very, like he said himself, you know, he loves boxing, he's passionate about the sport. So, I mean, it might have been a good thing for him, you know, just to recover. Who knows, you know, he may have been training behind the scenes, you know, strengthening and all that, you know, strength and conditioning. But who knows, you know, we'll find out come fight day. Now, Barrios is a guy that's at the right place at the right time. He's that sort of fighter, you know. Get in a fight with Davis, you know, haven't fought really anybody at the top, and then get in a fight with Davis, now with Thurman, is quite impressive, you know. It's quite impressive being that young to have back-to-back pay-per-view fights. You know, most people don't see that that early into their career. Or not only that, I mean, changing weights and then getting a pay-per-view immediately, and he's not a megastar in my opinion. It was great for him, you know. It's good exposure. It's a good way to build up his name. I believe that's where it stops, you know. I mean, he did get knocked out by Davis, and I'm expecting the same from Thurman. Like I said, looks can be deceiving. He might look like he's old, he might look a certain way, but if Thurman boxes the way that he's talking, and he said that he's, you know, been in the ring with 5 different sparring partners and all that, then he should knock him out. I mean, I believe this is a competitive fight for Thurman, not competitive as in challenging, but competitive as in trying to get the job done faster than Davis, you know. So in that sense, it is competitive. You know, I mean, Thurman will be wanting to make a statement, being out of the ring for that long, and I think that he will do it. I believe that he will, you know. Like he said himself, Barrios is a guy that, you know, he's got pencil legs, and the base is very important here. The base is very important. Now, you've seen him get knocked off from Davis, you know, from a hook, and if you don't have a solid trunk on you, I mean, you're going to fall. I mean, Barrios said himself, you know, even if you knock me down, I'm going to get back up. So he's really accepting the fact that he might get knocked out here, or knocked down, I would say, you know. So, I mean, that may be his weakness here, you know. Getting a solid trunk, working on the legs is key. It's key when you're changing weights like that, you know, 7 pounds difference. You're going up against a banger Thurman 76, 75 or something like that, you know. Knockout percentage against a 65% is, you know, and you're the one changing weights. You're asking for trouble here. Now, Barrios really needs to be careful here. Use the jab, get Thurman on the back foot, because Thurman's not that great on the back foot. You know, you saw what happened with Pacquiao. You know, fast combination punches, pushing him back, you know, putting him under pressure. He needs to do that. I mean, if he's going to stick and move and Thurman's coming forward, I believe Thurman will catch him. So I think that Barrios definitely needs to apply the pressure on Thurman. But he does have the height advantage, the reach advantage, but like I said, you know, he doesn't have a solid trunk, a solid base on him. And I believe that will cost him the fight. I think that Thurman will knock him down. He'll try to do it faster than Davis. I think Davis done it in round 11, so that's quite late. I'm picking Thurman to do it in round 10 or 9. But you never know, you know, you never know. I mean, you saw what happened with Gary Russell, you know, coming back after the long layoff. You know, injured his arm and still went ahead, you know. That fight was very surprising to me. Not surprising that he went ahead, but surprising of how good he fought with one hand. He was very impressed. I was very impressed from him. I didn't think that he'd done enough to win, and I could understand why they gave the fight to the other guy. But you know, Thurman can't afford any injuries in this fight. You know, he's got to come in 100%. it's make or break for him right now. You know, he's got to come in here with an impressive win if he wants a shot against Spence, like he says. It's a high possibility that he may get a shot against Spence because Crawford is tied up with this legal case with Bob Arum. So, I mean, it's very likely that he will, especially coming off a pay-per-view fight, you know. But we'll see. I don't think it's going to do much numbers. And Thurman needs to definitely make it an impressive win. So we'll see what happens, you know. We'll see what happens. Now let's go back to that Russell fight. I think that Russell should have definitely, you know, changed stances and try to use the jab with the other arm. You know, you can't really control a fight without the jab. You know, that's the way that I see it, and that's why he lost, in my opinion. You know, the judges thought he wasn't controlling the fight. He was on defense too much. He was effective, but you know, he wasn't in control. Wasn't in control. So I mean, I can understand why they gave it to the other guy, but we'll see what happens with Thurman. We'll see if he can pull off a knockout. I'm expecting it. I think that he will do it. I think that he will want to compete with Davis and make a statement. But that's all I gotta say, man. It is the aftermath. Thanks for tuning in once again, man. I look forward to hearing from you as always, and look forward to the comments, man. And leave your take, leave a comment. Peace. Enjoy the fight, man. It's fight week. God bless. Peace.